They're now attacking hospitals in the United States. And if you thought that was bad, we're also seeing multiple attacks on our water system and possible ones on different infrastructure around the country. No wonder we've been getting all these warnings from the FBI. I wonder how they knew.
Ransomware attack has forced 2 hospitals in New Jersey to stop accepting new patients into their ERs.
Fox Eye's Teresa Briello takes a look at how the breach is impacting services.
I know the computers are down because I couldn't get the information I needed for my daughter.
To visitors and ER patients, a computer issue at Mountainside Hospital in Montclair has been making it tough to get some information. But in reality, this is not some glitch. The hospital's a victim of a ransomware attack.
We've recorded more than 309 ransomware attacks against healthcare providers in 2023 alone. That's up significantly from 245 last year.
The latest, the computer systems of Mountainside Medical Center and Pascack Valley Medical Center have been shut down as a result. Both hospitals are part of the Hackensack Meridian Health System, the largest in the state. Now it's back to basics.
Everything's just done by paper.
This woman works inside of the hospital. She tells us they're still in the flow of things, but it's tough not having access to all the information that's stored in the hospital system.
They're probably disrupting databases, patient care, billing databases, anything that the hospital does or requires to operate.
Liska says it should not impact a patient's ability to get their own health records from the patient portal at home. But hackers are concerned about accessing huge swaths of data and selling it.
A ransomware actor pulls 100,000 records from there. I can buy those 100,000 records, and then I can use that to make credit cards, to get driver's license, to get passports, all the other things that identity thieves do.
Now, before we get any deeper into this thing, I want to ask you guys, should we be worried at this point? I mean, we're seeing these on like a daily basis now. Every single day, I pretty much come on here and something like this pops up. And to be honest, it makes you kind of feel, somewhat helpless. It makes you want to do something to protect yourself, right? Tell you what, if you think that this is, probably time to prepare ourselves for different kinds of attacks on our infrastructure by, I don't know, stocking up on essentials that we might need in the future, go ahead and comment 1. Now, if you think that the federal government under this administration has us covered on all this and we shouldn't even worry about it, comment 2. And while you guys contemplate that, make sure you smash the like button. It really helps out a ton. And since you're already here, consider subscribing to the channel, turn on all notifications so that you don't miss out on any of these crucial updates. Appreciate that, guys. All right, so getting back on topic here, and I just want to give you a better idea of just how bad this was. Almost half of the emergency rooms at Ardent Health Services were set to divert, which caused ambulances to bring people who needed emergency care to other facilities within the area. I mean, isn't that crazy? And to make matters worse, this isn't the only attack that happened recently. In fact, to be honest, it's a shame that we're not hearing even more about it.
Surprised that, yes, I haven't heard more about it in news.
It's been 5 days since Loveless Health System has been operating on a smaller scale. November 23rd, its parent company, Ardent Health Services, found out it had been attacked with ransomware. As of Tuesday, Ardent doesn't know the extent of the attack. Services are slowly opening back up, like acute needs and urgent care, but some small needs still aren't available, like filling a prescription.
I've been trying to get a prescription renewed, and I haven't been able to. Normally, I do it through their MyChart app, which is just an online app. So I called them directly, and I was told that system was down.
Did you guys hear that? This attack happened back in November 23rd. Why are we not hearing more about this in the news? Is this not a big concern for people here in the country? Like, the FBI talked about cyber attacks that made the news, but once they actually start, then what? Radio silence? What the heck is going on? And what are we doing to protect the American people? It's also surprising how it's tough for them to track things on paper. Like, I understand that most of your records are in digital format, but shouldn't there be like a backup of some sort? Maybe on something physical, like, I don't know, paper? Now, there's also updates with regards to hacks related to our water system. And yes, Iranian-backed hackers, they're admitting that this was their handiwork.
Tonight, evidence that hackers with ties to Iran may be testing the American infrastructure for vulnerabilities. Officials at a small water utility site in Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh, noticed Friday night that a computer that helps control water pressure for 2 townships was malfunctioning. When they rebooted the system, this ominous message, highlighted in red, appeared on the screen, saying, "You have been hacked."
One strategy used by hacking groups is to start small, target a vulnerable location, and then use that to conduct additional cyber attacks in the future.
The group claiming responsibility called themselves Cyber Avengers, saying they were attacking because the water utility used equipment made in Israel.
It's mind-blowing. I would have never, in a million years, would have never thought that we could be involved in that.
Utility officials say the hack did not impact the main computer network, and at no time was water quality or supply at risk. But tonight, ABC News obtaining this bulletin from state and federal officials warning that this form of attack has the potential to target any critical infrastructure in our area.
Think about that for like a hot minute, okay? This was like a glimpse of what is possible. It's like boxing if you watch the sport. So there's jabs, right? Not the one that they're trying to force into our arms. I'm talking about quick punches that don't usually do insane damage, but they do just enough to kind of gauge the enemy's defense. What happens when we get hit with a left hook though? Or even an uppercut? What if they attack statewide infrastructure next? What about nationwide infrastructure? Just how vulnerable is the United States of America right now? Do any of you guys believe that this is still the same country that has the respect of other countries? Or are more of them willing to poke at us? Which brings me to a very alarming update, and man, this is bad. So the SPR, or as we know it, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, was used by the Biden administration multiple times to try and curb gas prices, with little effect as gas prices still went through the roof during the health crisis, and heck, even up to this day, gas prices are still pretty up there. We're nowhere near where we were pre-pandemic levels.
With gas prices still high across the country, President Joe Biden is making efforts to ease those prices. Biden announced Wednesday the release of 15 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in December. The Biden administration committed to releasing 180 million barrels over a 6-month period. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve was created after the Arab oil embargo triggered an energy crisis in the early 1970s. The reserve provides an energy source of oil that protects the U.S. against a sudden supply crunch. The reserve can reach as many as 714 million barrels and, as of October 7th, stood at 57% of overall capacity. The barrels are stored in high-security underground salt caverns along the coastlines of Louisiana and Texas. In theory, when oil from the reserve is released into the open market, it should bring down oil prices. Before the Biden administration, the U.S. released emergency oil from the reserve 3 times since 1975. A report from the Treasury Department found that oil from the reserve accounted for a 33-cent per gallon reduction in gas prices.
Now, just for context though, the SPR is still down by about 300 million barrels, although I can confirm that they also added to it quite a bit recently. How many barrels, you might ask? Oh, a whopping 300,000. How do you like that? One of the reasons for the slow refill of the SPR, which again is our reserve in times of conflict, is that the government approved Shell, Chevron, and Total Energies to borrow government oil, given that they'd repay it this year on to the next one. The problem is that they were also approved to delay around 5 million barrels of oil in returns until 2024 up to, get this, 2025. I mean, guys, I can't make this stuff up. And to think that our country is vulnerable right now would be an understatement. So what are your thoughts on this? Should these cyber attacks be considered as terrorism? And do you trust that the federal government will be able to replenish the SPR enough if ever we do encounter another world war? Let me know what you guys think down below. And before I go, I just want to thank you so much for your time. Keep safe out there, and I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one.